to Tight Sports. Welcome back to Tight Sports. I hope everybody's doing well in the 2024. I'm back here again to give you more. I'm not a rapper. I'm worst ever amongst all my friends. I can never get a rap together. I can do love poems though. You know, roses are reds. Why? That's all my speed. You know what I'm saying? Cause I ain't no battle rapper. I'm a lover. Anyway, Alabama hires KALEN DeBOER, and I just had to dig into the whole situation to see where might this leave us down the line. Is he the man for the job? What are the expectations? I know they're high, but what do we actually expect him to do? That's where I'm coming from this standpoint of what's the future for KALEN DeBOER and the University of Alabama Crimson Tide. Will this be 2.5 years and beat it, kid, get out of here? You know what I'm saying? Or should we be looking for more? You know, it's hard to follow a legend. Nobody really has done it very well. I have to go through all, the Yankees people. They always end up in the championship and all this stuff. World Series, I should say. But when you look back at the coaching criteria, I thought we needed to have a coach that understood that the offense needs help from the defense, and defense needs to work with the offense. And I don't need no coach scoring 58 points a game and losing by 1. That just never makes sense to me. You throw it all around, and most teams are gonna be able to keep up with you. But what if you meet the team that's doing the same thing you're doing? We don't have no defense either. What? That don't make sense to me to score that many points. And then your defense is just trash. You know what I mean? That don't make sense. So then you're talking about a coach that can, survive the pressure cooker. That is not only the FBS level, not only the SEC, but that's Alabama. I mean, Coach Nick Saban did not turn Alabama into the legendary powerhouse that it is. You just added Nick Saban, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, he had a dynastic run, like China got a whole bunch of dynasties, but some dynasties in China were much bigger than others. If you ever heard of, Attila the Hun, he did a lot. So, not comparing Coach Saban to Attila the Hun, but for the haters out there, yeah, I guess I can see your point. But we destroyed your team and took all your cattle and corn and everything, rice. Anyway, you need a coach this is why I thought we would go with the NFL option, because you have to be able to coach these days from the moving parts of the NIL. And we've been dealing with used to have the 5th year senior, the graduate player come over. Coach Saban grabbed Coker out of FSU championship. We're dealing with that. Then it was the portal. Just pieces. You got to be able to deal with moving pieces. And NIL, it's different. It's no longer, next man. People will say next man up. It really was next man standing, because I've seen coaches, including at the University of Alabama, Coach Saban will put people in the game that you was like, he ain't ready. He ain't ready. Raise your hand, Bama Nation, if you remember those times when Alabama would lose not only 1, but 2 inside linebackers, or lose the senior safety would be out for a couple of days or just gone. How your heart start beating because the next man up ain't next man ready. We got to take that philosophy much more seriously now. It must be instilled into everyone, coaches, staff, whoever. It's next man up, not next man standing. So you had to have that. So my pool of coaches came down to, you got to throw, worth a shot. Hey, Kirby, I see you still got a storage room over here in Tuscaloosa. You want to come back? I thought Sarkeesian, you think about an age thing too, because it works out. You want to have about a 20-year run, So you don't want to get somebody with too much experience. We should say it that way. And you had to, maybe throw a shot at Sarkisian and coach out there at Utah. I had Washington in mind, just hadn't dug into it. That's why I don't do it for a living. Anyway, but I was thinking like my wild card was PJ Fleck. I don't know what it is. Rowed a boat. I love it. I love the philosophy. Professional. Instill some kind of a credo, and never. You giving the right players, you never know what he can come up with. I don't think he'll be at Minnesota forever, but if he is, I understand. I can see him, creating a bunch of great, outstanding men and players from the NFL, but just men in general, because that's important as well. But I really was thinking a pro coach with moderate success in making the playoffs or more, because you're used to dealing with losing players. People say, well, they never lose their core players. I would put that little boy in there and be like, oh, but, yes, they do. They lose a receiver or a running back. They may not want to play him like he's a core person, but that person that comes in after him, usually it's a struggle. My Pittsburgh Steelers experienced that, all kind of ways. Even when you have to lose a core person. Tell me Ben Roethlisberger is not a core person just because he's at the end of his run. It still is stinging us to this very day. So I thought maybe a FCS coach with a FBS background, but maybe a FCS title. Maybe he's ready to move up. If that even existed. I looked around at the people who won like the last 5, 6, 7 FCS titles. Most of them, they've done well, of course, but they didn't have, either they were a little older or they didn't have FBS experience. So that wouldn't work. And the winningest coaches in the FCS, like I said, they were just long in the tooth. And I got notes all over the place because I want to mess up here. But when we settled in on, KALEN DeBOER, we're looking at a man that has 104 wins, 12 losses in his coaching career. That's a 90% win rate. That's pretty doggone high. Now, 49 years old, not a problem there. 3 or 4 NIA championships. So he was in one championship. You have to look at that NIA stuff. I went back and looked at one of his championships at Sioux Falls, and I could just imagine like the games were kind of close, but like if Jalen Milroe out there, it wouldn't have been close. But their quarterbacks were kind of more of a Jalen Milroe at that time. It wasn't Michael Penix. It was more Jalen Milroe. Some of the field one championship, I think it was, I can't think of the year, but it was like field was muddy, looked like a cow pasture, and they were just getting down, getting busy, and they won. And DeBOER did get baptized into FCS play with Jeff Tedford at San Diego and later at Indiana. And while at Washington and Fresno, and he took over head coaching job at Fresno and at Washington. Now, between Fresno and Washington, it's 25-3. Still, that's really good. 28, that's almost 90%. If it's not 90%, I'm sure you nerds out there will let me know. Love the nerds. Now, here's something. So you said, like, well, is he a good coach? Is he a good coach? Now, I remember somebody telling me I was playing on a golf course. I was, trying to learn all this stuff. And I think it's my brother. My brother let me know. He said, if Tiger Woods was to land at an airport near me, go by Kmart at the time, go by Kmart, pick up a bag of clubs, he could play left-handed and beat your brains out on any course you pick. And that's true. Some folks just know how to manage that course. Some people flat out know how to play. And in football, some people know how to coach. I pulled up some numbers. I used the 24/7 recruiting rankings, the last 4 classes for the last 4 participants in the national championship game. When you look at Alabama's recruiting rank from 2020 to 2023, Alabama was ranked second, first for an average ranking class of 1.5. Now, I mean, that's woo. Got to have recruits to win, right? They won championship. Texas, 8 in 2020, then 15, 5 and 2. Average rank 7.5. No ring. Michigan, our current national champion. 2020, they were ranked 10th, 13th, 9th, and 17th somehow. Unless I really can't read my own handwriting. Average ranking, 12.25, national championship, finally. Washington. I don't know what happened. It just is what it is. But 2020, were you thinking about Washington? I was not. But you got to remember, they were in the playoffs. Alabama crushed old boy. I think he's up with the Cincinnati Bengals right now. They crushed him. And it wasn't KALEN DeBOER, somebody else. But 2020, their class was ranked 16th, then 30th, then 95th, then 26th. Average ranking, 41.75. Where, outside of UGA and LSU, where are the other teams that are in the top 10 all the time? Where is the Ohio State? You know, people may say I'm picking on them, but where is Oklahoma and Clemson, and where's Texas A&M and Notre Dame? Because they say if you get the recruits, you got to have the recruits to compete. You got to have the recruits to compete. You got to have the recruits to win. Saban had the recruits. That's why he was winning. He didn't win all of them. He won a lot, but he got to have the recruit. Everybody else got recruits. This man didn't have the talent and almost pulled it off. Maybe the talent ran out. I think the same thing about the University of Alabama. We got to a point, the talent, and even Coach Saban say he was dealing with things, his age, he was working with the defense, trying to get him to a certain place. He said in the interview, if I could have worked with the defense a little more, I don't think Michigan would have scored in the fourth quarter. That's saying a lot. But they scored, and we lost. In the what do they call it? in overtime loss. But back to DeBoer. Seems like this man can coach his britches off if he want to. You know? So it must be said that coaching, that this era, coaches got to know how to coach. Bottom line. This man can do Tiger Woods. He can fly into Washington and end up in the playoffs. Well, what's going to happen when he zooms into Tuscaloosa? He's here. What's going to happen on spring day? We're going to have 95,000? I don't know. May have 70. May have 50. I think we're going to be in the 90s again. But more importantly, what's going to happen in the fall? Because it's this next man up philosophy is something we have to absolutely live by. And it seems like DeBoer can do this because maybe it's, you know, he learned the way he worked his way up from Sioux Falls. See, when you out there in like NIA land, and I went to a Division II college, it gets kind of grimy, you know. You may end up picking up some towels and throwing them in the washing machine up there and picking some people up at the bus station. You know, things you don't typically do if you just matriculate around FBS and work your way up to the top. When you're at smaller schools, the great teams always losing players for various reasons. People trying to move up, lack of fun. Sometimes you got great players that's not even on scholarship. And then other things you'll classify as just, you know, life just happening to people. So I think, you know, that going to Sioux Falls, working there the way he did, building that program to what it became, I think that really matters. I thought it was going to matter against Michigan, but it just ran out. But he got really close for somebody that had an average ranking of 41 across 4 years. That's a lot. That says your talent level is way off. And let's just face it. Did he, my higher pick, Sarkisian, did he outcoach him? And the numbers show that his team, Sarkisian's, had more talent across the board in Washington, and he beat him. That's why I thought, another reason I thought he had a good chance. Whatever he figured out about Sarkisian or Texas, I thought he would have flied to Michigan and picked them away the same way. Wasn't meant to be. But a long time ago, the host of Auburn Addicts, DC Wolf, we were having a conversation like after Saban was in town for a year and the team was kind of turning. We were in the middle of the 2008 season. He said, "Man, you just think about what's going on." He said, "You see what's going on with y'all at Alabama. It's like you got this coach up here now, then you got this talent coming in, then the fans." And I said, "It's like a perfect storm." He's like, "Yeah, like a perfect storm."